The oxygen warning blared through the damaged shuttle's cabin as Alex frantically rerouted power from the failing life support systems. Outside the viewport, the ice fields of Europa stretched endlessly beneath them, their fractured surface catching the distant light of Jupiter like frozen lightning. "Hull breach! In Section 3!" Jennifer's voice cut through the chaos, remarkably steady despite their situation. She was already sealing her helmet, her movements practiced and efficient. "We have maybe 4 minutes before cascade failure." Alex's fingers flew across the emergency console. The collision with the micrometeoroid swarm had been unavoidable. Their trajectory through the Jovian system had left them exposed during the critical deceleration phase. Now, the daughter of Earth's colonial administrator was going to die on this frozen moon because of his navigation calculations. "I can stabilize the hull integrity field," he said, pulling up the quantum field parameters. "But I'll need to shut down the magnetic shielding." Jennifer understood immediately. Without the shielding, the radiation from Jupiter's magnetosphere would cook them in minutes. But without hull integrity, they'd explosively decompress in seconds. She checked the surface scanner. There, she highlighted a thermal signature 15 kilometers northeast. Subsurface water vent. The ice crust should provide radiation protection if we can reach it. That's a long way in an EVA suit with our limited oxygen supply. Then we better start moving. The emergency airlock barely functioned, grinding open with agonizing slowness. Europa's gravity was only 13% of Earth's, which would help conserve their energy, but the surface temperature hovered at minus 160 Celsius. Their suits could handle it for perhaps 2 hours before the thermal systems failed. Alex took the lead, his engineering background making him keenly aware of every gauge, every warning indicator. Jennifer followed, her breath steady in his earpiece. Despite being the daughter of the most powerful human in the solar system, she'd insisted on proper astronaut training. That decision might save her life today. They made good time across the ice, their enhanced mobility and the low gravity allowing them to bound forward in long arcs. But 40 minutes in, disaster struck. A hidden crevasse opened beneath Jennifer's feet. Alex spun around at her sharp intake of breath. She was sliding, her gloved hands scrambling for purchase on the smooth ice. Without thinking, he dove forward, his suit's reaction thrusters firing to angle him toward her. His hand closed around her wrist just as she went over the edge. The crevasse was deep. His suit's lidar couldn't find the bottom. Worse, the edge was crumbling under their combined weight. Alex's other hand slammed into the ice, the suit's emergency pythons deploying from his forearm, biting into the ancient frozen surface. "I've got you," he grunted, the suit's servos whining as they compensated for the strain. "Your oxygen levels," Jennifer said, and he could hear the fear she was trying to hide. The exertion was burning through his air supply at an accelerated rate. At this consumption, he had maybe 20 minutes left. "Not discussing it," he said, hauling her up with mechanical-assisted strength. The pitons held. Barely. When they finally reached solid ground, they had 12 minutes of air between them and 40 minutes left to the thermal vent. The math was brutal. "You need to leave me," Jennifer said quietly. "Take my oxygen reserve. You might make it." "Also, not discussing it." Alex increased their pace to a desperate run glide, each bound covering 30 meters. His vision was starting to tunnel when the vent structure finally appeared, a massive geological formation where Europa's subsurface ocean forced superheated water up through kilometers of ice. The warmth had created a cave system, protection from both radiation and the lethal cold. They stumbled into the cavern with 90 seconds of oxygen remaining. Alex activated the emergency beacon in his suit as Jennifer deployed their portable atmospheric generator. The small device began scrubbing CO2 and releasing stored oxygen, buying them precious hours. They sat in silence, backs against the warm rock, as their suit systems stabilized. "You should have left me," Jennifer finally said. "Couldn't do that." "Why not?" You're a civilian contractor. I'm just another passenger. Alex turned to look at her through his helmet. Because leaving people to die isn't what humans do. It's not what HFY means. Jennifer smiled faintly at the reference to the old rallying cry, humanity, fuck yeah, that had powered humanity's expansion into the hostile frontier of space. My father is going to have opinions about this. She was right about that. 3 days later, after their rescue, Alex stood in Colonial Administrator Chen's office on Ganymede Station, still exhausted from the ordeal. The administrator was a severe man, his face carved from a lifetime of impossible decisions. "You saved my daughter's life," Chen said without preamble. "I did my job, sir. Your job was to pilot a shuttle. You went beyond that. You risked your life for hers." Alex shifted uncomfortably. "Anyone would have, but you did." Chen leaned forward. "In my position, I've learned that debts must be repaid. Obligations must be honored. Jennifer has expressed interest in working with you on future missions." "Sir, I'm not asking, Mr. Hayes. I'm informing you that you'll be assigned as her personal pilot and mission specialist for all future operations. You saved her life. Now you'll be responsible for keeping her safe." Behind Chen, visible through the office's viewport, Jennifer caught Alex's eye. She rolled her eyes at her father's dramatics, but she was smiling. Alex realized he'd just been conscripted into something far more complicated than a simple rescue. But looking at Jennifer's smile, at the fierce intelligence in her eyes, he found he didn't mind. "Understood, sir," he said. Some obligations, he was learning, were worth accepting,